the biggest names in European football meet here in Solna, a district of Stockholm in Sweden, to decide the UEFA Europa League. Pogba. Shot's been deflected. And deflected to Manchester United's advantage. Paul Pogba's goal. Here's Smalling's header. It's the second goal for Manchester United, and it's put in by Henrik Mkhitaryan. Champions in Europe again, and for the first time ever, Manchester United are UEFA Europa League winners.
I have a feeling that the person responsible for putting that together was a Liverpool fan, because that was from some horror movie. And speaking about horror, it's Des Corkhill in the studio with me, alongside Mr. Gary Stevens and the one and only Stan the Man Bernard. Gentlemen, it is the final show, Astro Football Countdown. We just watched the highlights from the Europa League final, Ajax taking on Manchester United. Jose, more answers than questions this term for you, Des?
Well, let's talk about the game first, Rosh, because Paul Pogba turned up for once, for arguably the first and only time this season when it mattered. So there's the $89 million value for Paul Pogba. Okay. He's frustrated me all season. He turned up. He had a little bit of fortune for the goal, but United were the best team and they deserve the victory.
Yeah, I think United were the better side. I think, you know, tactically they got it right. Yes, you could argue they got their little bit of good fortune as well. But I never thought that United would make it an open game, and they didn't. They were defensively sound. You know, it was all about winning, which is Mourinho, isn't it? That's what he's about.
Firstly, yes, about the game, but it was more about Mourinho, because he's put all the eggs in one basket. I mean, if you ask everyone before the match, he disrespected, for me, the league prior, 3 games going into the final day. I think the lineups he put out, he should have been positive, no harm putting youngsters in. I think Daz would agree with me. But the manner he went about before he put the youngsters was as if he was putting a second team. They're not second team. Their players was coming through. So coming into this match, the pressure was on him more than anyone else, because he's really concentrated on this. And for me, the fact that he's won, that 90 minutes decided that did he fail or did he achieve this season? He has achieved because he won. As simple as that.
Pam, we hear from the special one. Here's Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, it's the end of a very difficult season, but I think a very, very good season. We prefer this way, then finish 4th, then finish 3rd, then finish 2nd. We prefer this way. We got the objective of go back to Champions League, but winning a title. 3 trophies in the season, Champions League, Europa League. I'm really happy with the players in probably my most difficult season as a manager.
Those are big words. His most difficult season so far. Why would you say such a thing?
It's probably been the most competitive season he's been involved with in terms of the Premier League, and his team have come not in the top 4, which would have been an objective at the start of the season, maybe even higher. I'd argue that his year in Spain might have been more physically draining because of all the emotions go with Real Madrid. But yeah, United have won 2 trophies. You know what? Well done. It's great. Well done. But it's not thrilled anybody the way they've gone about winning things, and it's not the Man United way.
No. I would have thought one of his very difficult seasons was the season where he arguably lost it at Chelsea.
At Chelsea, yeah.
And he got the sack. But we'll have to believe him. But it's difficult to know what to believe with Mourinho at times, isn't it? Because he's always kind of working the angles with his comments and everything. Why has it been a difficult season for him? I think first and foremost because Manchester United have been in decline over the last 3 seasons, since Ferguson left. You know, you have a look. Ferguson, throughout the history of the Premier League, never finished outside the top 3. Yeah. Ferguson leaves the club, and they've never finished inside the top 3. And, you know, Mourinho, I thought the idea was he came in this season to achieve that. He hasn't, but to some extent, he's gone very, very close to it by what he's achieved.
I believe him. I believe him. The fact that this must be the most difficult season in his career ever, just purely because of the point you just said. It's not the fact that United's the only one who's been declined. If you've been sacked last season, it's almost similar to what Claudio Ranieri went through. After winning, gets the sack. Mourinho, being a successful manager, that's the first time at Chelsea last season he's faced what he faced. At some point this season, you go back to September and October, you hear Jose Mourinho's post-match or even pre-matches, he almost lost the plot because he didn't even believe in himself at some point. And we were sitting here and saying the fact that as his best years passed, and suddenly he's picked himself around. That 90 minutes in Europa League is probably one of the toughest ever 90 minutes he's had to face because he's on low. He's on a low. And he had to win that.
I've got to come back to this United in decline. United's squad is worth the best part of £1 billion. Yes. They are not financially in decline. They are not. They are not in terms of not having access to players in decline.
Results.
Their facilities are not in decline. Nothing about Manchester United is in decline. Mourinho comes into a wonderful situation as one of the most successful managers in world football.
After
balls the pants off us.
But after Wenger's season?
You can't tell me that their squad is a better squad than in Ferguson's days. Forget
it's different.
The money. Don't tell me because they paid nearly 100 million for a player.
It makes them better.
That's irrelevant.
But if you're paying £100 million for a player, my word, you've got to be better.
Yes.
If you're paying 35 million for Mata, if you're paying for Valencia, if you're paying for Ibrahimovic, the kind of money
you pay for a player is to do with market forces at the time.
It's close to $1
Ibrahimovic costs
billion.
nothing on a transfer fee.
And come on, Ibrahimovic has cost them millions in terms of.
I didn't say that. I said
money.
He's brought back
Nothing on a
millions too.
transfer fee.
If you're talking about money, first week of Zlatan's shirt sales was £75 million. So we're talking money right now.
So this is not a club in decline. This is a team who are not getting results on the pitch. They've got the best access to the best players in the world.
It's irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant. You pick the best players. Of course you should be winning.
Why was Louis van Gaal sacked?
Sorry?
Why was Louis van Gaal sacked?
He wasn't getting results. This isn't a club in decline.
This
is a club on the up.
Whoa, gentlemen. He won the FA Cup. So you're talking about results. He won the FA Cup. So was Louis van Gaal a failure for you?
We're talking about the league because we put, in terms of structure of the league, where does United stand on expenditure?
So what is the definition of success then?
Exactly. This is my whole point.
Yeah, what is the definition of success?
For United, being in the Champions League every year, competing for the title every year,
not winning the Premier League.
Because of people like him, because he values the club with the money they are
quite
spending.
rightly too. So this is not a club in decline. This is a club who have got access to money and
all
all the best players and facilities in the world.
Yeah. I've used the word decline, okay, and the area, in my opinion, where they have been in decline in recent seasons is on the pitch, their performances, their results, their style of play. I don't like watching Manchester United play. I used to like watching them play.
So Jose Mourinho, we're talking about him. He said it's his hardest season. So has he had a positive impact since taking over at United? It's not a tough question.
Well, if you look at trophies and the fact that they've got into the Champions League off the back of the Europa League, then I think you have to say, yes, he has had a positive impact.
So you are angry at the style of football or the lack of results in the Premier League? Because you want everything what you had during a Sir Alex Ferguson era. Is that even possible nowadays?
Of course it is.
How? Where?
It's
Which
possible.
team?
It's possible.
Name a team right now.
But damage limitation was his idea this year. And what he's done is, what is it?
Name a team right now which can give you everything.
Have you not watched Chelsea play?
Was Chelsea involved in Europe? Are you blind? Have you not watched the season?
Have you watched them in the Premier League?
That's my point. So there's only Premier League.
Man City have entertained, Liverpool have entertained, Swansea have entertained, a lot of teams have entertained, Barcelona have entertained, Spurs have entertained.
Thank you very much. Get
Absolutely.
It in there.
Entertainment is the key for football fans, not success.
No. The thing is, in modern day, there must be a balance, especially with what club you're taking.
Okay.
If he's taking Southampton and he's doing what he's doing, it's fine. But when you take a club like United, then you've got a responsibility. There's a reason why United is the best supported club in the world. It's because they have the entertainment value. And that's what Des talks about. I agree. But the fact that he has not done that, it's because of what happened last season. He had to get Manchester United back in the Champions League.
He has got the best players in the world.
That doesn't matter at this point because...
If I'm buying 89 million quid, I want the
if you
finished
don't buy him at
article
89, someone
working
else will buy him at
straight in.
89.
Des, you said he's got the best players in the world.
He's got access to the best players.
Oh,
He
no,
can
you
go
said
out and
he's got
choose.
the best players in the
Mata's not
world.
bad.
Not bad.
Ibrahimovic not bad.
Not bad.
Mkhitaryan not bad.
Yeah, but no, hang on. You've gone from the best in the world to not bad.
Not bad in inverted
That's
commas.
very
These
different.
are world-class players. Mata's world-class. Ibrahimovic world-class. All of these world-class
So is he
players.
making excuses for himself?
And they've come fifth.
He's won.
Has he? No, he
qualified.
says it's his toughest year so far. If it's so tough, then how did he win 3 trophies?
2. You don't count the
Charity Shield.
Yeah.
But so that means 2. Okay, a proper European title. He's gotten another cup.
On his personal note, what I just said, I'm repeating myself again, the reason why he's saying difficult, he's got sacked last season. He's never faced that. So
He's been
signed
sacked.
at
He's
United.
been sacked in the past.
Yes, he's been sacked in the past, but this is after winning. After winning Chelsea 3 months down the road, he's
he
lost
didn't
the
get
job.
sacked after winning the Premier League. He
Yeah,
got sacked
the
because of
season
where he'd
after.
taken Chelsea
Yeah.
to the following season.
Within a
That's
season,
what got him the
within a
sack.
season. So when he took United, he wasn't at his best. It was at his lowest because he's been sacked. And you know this on footballer's side. If you're winning, your confidence is high. If you're losing, your confidence is low.
What,
It's as simple
Mourinho
as that.
lacking confidence?
He did. That's what I was just saying. September and October, did you watch him?
Okay.
He
I
almost
watched him.
looked like he lost
I
the
watched
plot.
him. It was all about Mourinho. When you should make it
Yeah.
about your players, you should make it about the
But
team.
at that point, it wasn't about him. He was losing the plot.
I've got a question for Des. Is it also a tough season for him because he had to deal with the likes of trying to get rid of Wayne Rooney? He had Zlatan in, his man in the dressing room. If he does try and get rid of Luke Shaw, moving forward, is that a difficult challenge for him? Because he went to Real Madrid, he got rid of Guti, he got rid of Raul, he benched Casillas. So is that another definition for having a tough season, dealing with legends at a football club and not playing them regularly?
Tough season is Newport County and Leyton Orient going out of the league. Having to worry about Wayne Rooney on his 300,000 quid a week and Luke Shaw, a 25 million England international, whether to play him or not, as part of a 26-man full international squad.
Yeah.
Give me that worry every day of the week.
Yeah, I know what aspect or what side of the fence I'd like to be on, and it would certainly be in Mourinho's
side,
camp,
the-
for sure.
Well,
Must do list for Manchester United next season.
Firstly, keep De Gea. As simple as that. I think he's the biggest player this season because he wins you points. And how much you've said in the past, how pragmatic his approach has been, is not pleasing to the eye. If De Gea leaves, for me, it's a big problem. He's won them points this season. He's got to keep what he has first
And in the
before he
past
looks
as well.
outside. In the past as well. So he's been United's best player for the past 2 seasons.
I wouldn't disagree with you, but did De Gea play in the final of the Europa League?
No, he did not.
No, so
but for
maybe
me,
he is
but
replaceable.
do you expect United to be competing for the league next season?
Yeah, for sure. They
And
should
De Gea
be.
will get you at least 15 points. That's what I'm trying to say.
I agree.
And it's not Mourinho, but play the Man United way. There was a grudging respect for Sir Alex Ferguson and the way they played. You didn't want to like them, but when Beckham's going down the wing and Giggs is going down the wing and they're scoring goals for fun, you've got to enjoy it. Nobody enjoyed Manchester United this year. Despite that 23-match run, there's kind of, they're bound to do it, but let your players off the leash because they're world-class.
Didn't he do that against Chelsea at Old Trafford? He let them go?
Yeah, a little bit.
He didn't, he man-marked.
A little bit, but I think the players actually would appreciate a little bit more freedom as well. And to, you know, if Des is right in that he has the best players in the world, then he should be able to let that happen as well, shouldn't he?
So if he is going to rebuild that team of his, who does he need to replace at the current starting 11 for Manchester United?
What is his best starting 11?
Is Chris Smalling good enough to start next season as the captain or as a leader? Phil Jones?
I think they need to sign a central defender. I really do.
Partner Bailly, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Bailly should be there, but someone is partner him.
Yeah, so somebody like Michael Keane, who's been tipped for it from Burnley, I think.
Okay.
But Smalling's ahead of Keane in the England rankings. Smalling gets the nod ahead of Michael Keane. So what does Michael Keane bring that Chris Smalling
Did you
doesn't?
watch the Europa finals? Did you see the amount of time Smalling got turned
Smalling was terrific.
by kids?
What? Smalling was
You
fine.
didn't watch the game?
Well, see, this is the beauty of football. It's subjective, isn't it? You know, it's about opinions because actually, if every coach had the same opinion on players, you know, everybody would want the same players. You know, there's not enough to go round, is there?
Okay, so centre back, the partner
Bailly.
Yeah.
Left back, is he okay with Shaw or Blind?
I think if he plays Shaw this season, Shaw will be playing every game like a final because of what happened this season, and he will say that is great man management because he's actually threw his name under the bus.
Like he did with Mkhitaryan.
He will keep Luke Shaw, and you'll be surprised what Luke Shaw can bring to United next season.
Well, number one, Luke Shaw, I don't think he's going to be fit even for the start of next season. So it's difficult to move a player on who's not fully fit.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I don't think Shaw will be
but
going.
But he's got
yet.
a Daily Blind, he's got Rocco, he's already got the formation of a really good squad. Maybe Wayne Rooney, who I've loved, maybe he's past his sell-by date and I'd love him to go to Everton, so maybe a forward comes in.
Okay.
But
midfield? Nothing.
Matic apparently might be coming.
Matic from Chelsea?
Yes.
Wow.
Because Mourinho was the one who brought him back.
Chelsea would sell to?
Apparently, he's got 2 years on his contract, and Chelsea is stalling on a contract.
Yeah.
And United's offered him.
I think somebody like Bakayoko from Monaco would be of interest in midfield.
Nice shot, Gary.
For United, without doubt.
Anybody else? So midfield is the biggest place.
And allow Rashford to be the main striker. That's the key. I think the boy's got talent. He needs to be given opportunities, and I think he's good enough. I really think he's a big deal.
So he's got access to the greatest players in the world. What's his goal next target for next season?
Well, he should be looking to compete in the Champions League. He should be looking to be at the top of the Premier League.
And actually, Manchester United, you do associate them with attacking, flowing football and scoring goals. If I tell you, Man United scored 54 goals last season in the Premier League. If you look at the teams immediately above them,
70 and 80, isn't it?
They were all in late 70s, mid 80s that they scored. It's a huge difference.
But with Mourinho, when you talk about having access to the best players, actually had that at Real Madrid, not at United. He still played the same way. He made Real Madrid defend. And which other coach has ever made Real Madrid defend? And that's why he was sacked.
This is why we haven't enjoyed him. We haven't enjoyed United.
And that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. The best you would see is what United did against Chelsea this season.
So the goal next season for United, quickly, Stan.
They need to compete for the title.
That's it. Nothing else.
And Champions League, of course.
Yeah. I think their 2 main targets are to do much, much better in the Premier League and compete towards the latter stages, and I'm talking semi-finals of the Champions League.
And to entertain.
Most importantly, entertain Mr. Des Corkhill. Right, off to a break, and when we return, we'll be having a look at Arsene Wenger and Arsenal, as well as answering your questions. That's coming up next. It's the FA Cup final. It's live and exclusive right here on Astro SuperSport. Do follow the details on stadiumastro.com as well as our Twitter account. Des won't be on the show. I believe Gary will be alongside the one and only Paul Parker. But let's talk about Arsene Wenger, the Twitter question especially that has changed the world. It comes from Alan Chu, and he says he didn't do the little, guard of honor, walk around the stadium, give a little applause to the fans. Is that a sign of him staying next season at the Emirates as manager? A dream come true for Arsenal Fan TV.
Why are we upset that a manager hasn't joined the lap of honour? What's the big deal?
That's the big question I'm asking you.
What is the big deal? It's for the players. So the players go on a lap of honour. Arsene Wenger doesn't need to. Why does he?
I'm not a fan of the lap of honour.
Neither am I.
So normally you do a lap of honour when you've achieved something, yeah? So the big question is, well, what have Arsenal Football Club achieved this season?
Well, to be fair, they've come 5th. They've played some lovely football. They're in the FA Cup final. So that's not a bad season. So I get the players going round.
I wouldn't disagree with that either. But, I don't know. I think we kind of dish out praise for very little these days.
Quite right.
But Stan?
Firstly, I think there's no problem if you do it or you don't. I agree with this because I've seen managers who just go back to the dressing room. Well, the players really just give the fans. I think why they did that is because the end of the season, fans who are committed, season ticket holders, who've come and watched them through thick and thin. So for me, I think that there's no wrong players doing a lap of honour, even though they've not achieved. But it's up to the manager if he wants to join in or not, really. I would do it. I would do it. If I was a manager, I would do it.
Well, I'm not sure what, Arsene Wenger's thought process was when
He's unhappy with
regarding
Arsenal
it.
fan
But when
TV.
you consider the abuse that Arsene
right.
Wenger has
Great point.
taken
Great
from
point.
some
That's
of
what
the
I'm saying.
fans at
He's-
times this
he must be
season,
really
I can kind of
unhappy,
understand Arsene Wenger saying, well, you know, they've hammered me and now I want to go round and clap them and thank them all.
Imagine if he went round and they were
Yeah, and
Arsene
got
out,
booed.
Arsene
Yeah.
out, Arsene out. You kind of go, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
Yes, I get well paid. Yes, yes, we haven't won the title. Yes, we haven't won the European Cup. But Arsenal still play some exhilarating football, and they're still in with a chance of winning a trophy.
I've got to say, I mean, we're going to point out the exact thing. Arsenal fan TV, I think it tips over the border. It's very disrespectful. If you're Arsene Wenger, that's a lot to take. If you do watch it, so I think.
Do you reckon he tunes in occasionally? Watches something? I don't think he bothers.
No, I think it's getting to him because if you watch some of his post-match, he does answer about what the fans say. And he gets quite emotional over the years. So for me, the fact that he's not gone on the lap of honour, I agree with you. He said, you know what? And you're right. If I go around and I get booed and Arsene Wenger out, what's the point of me doing that? So you don't feel appreciated. So if you're in his position, you must say the fact that since 1997 till now, Arsenal Football Club, it is where it is because of him. First time he's missed out on Champions League. He's a fantastic manager, but his time has come to an end.
All right, Alan, I hope you're happy with those sort of answers. Time to hear from the Arsenal manager, if he's there next season, Arsene Wenger.
What I want is to win the next game. You know, I love to win, and I want to do well for my club, and I want to win the cup for my club, and that's all I care about. It's not about me; it's about us winning the trophy and giving absolutely everything to achieve it. Gabriel is out for 6 to 8 weeks. We had a scare about his cruciate, but it's only a medial knee ligament, so the positive is that he avoids surgery. Scotland Mustafi, we have some worries. He's still sick at the moment and has not trained yet. I will not be in my last match anyway, because I will stay no matter what happens in football.
But at this club?
I don't know.
We do know something. He's got Chelsea in the next game. That's what he wanted to focus on. So let's focus on that. The FA Cup final, Chelsea, Arsenal. Let's talk about first-tier positions in the league, and then we can build into the cup final. Does the points difference actually emphasize the gulf between the two teams?
It's a cup final. Gary will tell you more than anything. Going back to the Man U game, where you can be in the relegation positions and still be competitive on the day. It's if the players want to do it for Arsenal, they can put on a show here, and Arsenal can come away with a trophy. I loved what Wenger said there. It's not about me. Fabulous. It's not. It's about the club, and he's always been about that. He's got great principles.
But if you look at the points gap, you know, Arsenal have finished 18 points behind Chelsea in the Premier League this season. You know, that is a long way behind them. You know, Arsenal haven't been able to compete across the course of the season. But I'm totally in agreement with Des. An FA Cup final, it's a great leveller. I know it's a much-used phrase, and, you know, I go many, many years ago, playing for Brighton and Hove Albion, we'd got relegated out of the top flight, and we played in the cup final against Manchester United.
You scored as well,
and we drew 2-2.
Yeah. And
we
Smith
drew 2-2.
must score.
So,
and Smith must score.
And we possibly should have won it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's far from a foregone conclusion that Chelsea are going to win this.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that Arsenal has perhaps more reasons to win this as well. They must be hungry. With the amount of abuse they've got over the season, that 2 losses against Bayern Munich, 5-1, 5-1 home and away. This is them trying to end the season with a cup. And Mourinho had a good point as well. He said, I'd rather win a cup than finish 2nd, 3rd or 4th. And that's a good point, because your club is based on your trophies. And Arsene Wenger will go into this match saying, this 90 minutes is as crucial as how Mourinho put that 90 minutes of Europa League. So Chelsea won the title. They're quite happy. There's a bit of happiness around the club, which is a good thing. But I would say Arsenal are more hungry going into this match because they've not won anything. So, one cup final, the fact that the gulf between the sides in the league would show 18 points.
But if I was going into a cup final, having just won the league title, I would be absolutely starving to win the double. So, you know, I think Chelsea will be up for it.
Yeah, they'll be up for it. But I'm just saying, Arsenal will be hungrier. For the reason of the fact
I
that
can't
they're trying
agree.
to prove.
I can't agree.
They're trying to prove that they have had a better season by winning that cup.
I think you're coming from a very English way of looking at this, the double was a big thing for English players. Foreign players, that winning the cup isn't as big a thing, never has been. And you look at Chelsea, it's mainly foreign players. For Arsenal, they're one chance for Ozil to show he's world class, for Sanchez to really prove, hey, listen, I'm a winner. Yeah. And so I'm kind of with Stan. I think the motivation is with Arsenal.
You just said, look at Chelsea. They're predominantly foreign players, and then you started to list the Arsenal players, and all you did was list foreigners.
No, because Chelsea have won a trophy. Arsenal have got a trophy to go for, and that's where I think the extra motivation may well come in.
It's just wounded tiger. That's about it. It's as simple as that. I think they come in very fiercely into this final.
You mentioned the player Ozil. There's so many question marks on Arsene Wenger. Sanchez has been called into question with his behaviour. But how about Ozil? I mean, we saw him at Real Madrid, and in the El Clasicos, you always had his name mentioned, the best Real Madrid player. What has happened to that player when he's moved to Arsenal? Has that manager had a negative effect on this player?
Well, I think it's only this season that Ozil hasn't delivered for Arsenal Football Club. I think prior to that, his contribution for the club has been up there. I think it's been decent each year. Not necessarily goals, but certainly assists with, dominating and dictating the game.
You get around when you... I mean,
he was a big favourite with the Arsenal fans. It's only this season that Ozil hasn't been a favourite amongst the fans.
Just look at Ozil as a footballer. Crafted, he's gifted, where you can see a pass. But the fighting part, I think when a team is not doing really well, I don't think Ozil is the one you look up to carry the team.
A person to lift the team up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why he goes missing. That's my problem. He's a brilliant footballer. Because he's just got that in him. Some things that you just can't coach a player or you can't get a player to do because he's just born with that kind of stuff. But in terms of innate fighting ability, is he a fighter? No,
like
he's
Sanchez.
Not. Yeah, he's not.
This is where I think Arsene Wenger's been unlucky this year, in that he bought fighters like Granit Xhaka and Mustafi. They were meant to be the muscle that enabled Ozil to operate. It hasn't worked like that. And again, for Xhaka, it's a final chance. He's got to prove that he is worth the 35 million because he's highly rated. And when he signed, everyone was saying, that's a good signing. Nobody didn't say that was a good signing. And it hasn't worked like that way. So again, for Xhaka, this is his chance to make a big mark at a big club.
So talking about Sanchez and now Ozil, who would you prefer in your squad, in the starting 11, in the dressing room? A player who is supposedly loved by everyone. And then you have Sanchez, who's linked to Bayern Munich, by the way. Those are rumours. A troublemaker, maybe. He's fought with the manager. Who would you prefer, a Sanchez or an Ozil in your starting 11, in your dressing room,
both
alongside you? You can't have both. You choose one.
No, they're both going to start. I'd be amazed if they don't.
But he's a problem, isn't it, Sanchez, the whole time? He didn't start against Liverpool.
That's a great problem to have, Sanchez. Yeah. That's a lovely problem to have if he's motivated.
A person who undermines you is a good problem.
On the pitch in a cup final, every time.
And he's their top goal scorer, isn't he, this season?
So he would do anything to hold him.
I think he's an important player for Arsenal to keep. I think they need to keep Sanchez. Whether they can or not, I think that's the difficult bit.
But it's a bit like Costa, isn't it? I mean, you know what you're going to get out of him when you play him on the pitch because they're top professionals. So with Sanchez, yeah, you'll have players who are that good at times when you're not winning, going against the manager for the reason that they're losing. But that's the kind of players you want because they're winners.
So that's Conte and Wenger, the way they've handled that situation. Conte with Costa, who literally screamed at all, you can go to China. And then you had Wenger, the way he dealt with Sanchez. Is that also going to be a difference come the cup final?
Not for the cup final. This is a one-off game. And I think the players will be motivated by different factors. Sanchez could be his sign-off. I really do think Arsenal, they've got defensive problems. I mean, losing Koscielny with the suspension, losing Gabriel is a real problem. Yeah. If they play three at the back, it's a gamble because Mertesacker is going to come in. But going forward, these players have got something to prove. That's where I think Arsenal might be able to produce what is an upset. Arsenal beating Chelsea, an upset, my word.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I have a feeling that Arsenal will actually look to kind of play deep, play quite defensive because of the weaknesses or the problems they have at the back, lack of players. Does Mustafi play or not? I don't know yet. But one thing Arsenal do have is they have an abundance of pace on the counter-attack.
Yep.
And I was very impressed with Arsenal against Man City in the semi-final at Wembley. They showed a huge amount of character in that game.
Yeah, if they can put up that same performance, because you know what, that game provided the fact that the difference we see the Arsenal week in, week out, and that Arsenal which beats Man City, They were fighters. Besides playing football, they fought. They fought. They took it. They took the game to Man City's faces, and they won that game. That's why they won it. And if they can do that, and they'll have to do that 110% against Chelsea, because Chelsea, you know what Chelsea is going to be. They're a bunch of fighters. Even in their bad day, Chelsea can fight. And Arsenal need to be up for it. They can play, they've got pace. Yeah. But if they can come out and give that same performance like they did against Man City, they'll have a chance.
So Chelsea's 3 at the back, they should attack it with 2. Arsenal, with 2 players up front.
No, I'm not saying that I don't think they will be very adventurous. I really don't. I'm saying that Arsenal will sit back and will look to counter, because they do have that ability to do exactly that. You know, there's very few quicker than Sanchez, for example. No, I think Arsenal will play quite un-Arsenal-like to do their utmost to get a result.
Okay, let's have a look at something from the past for all you Arsenal fans. Some good memories from 2002. It was a 2-0 scoreline. How times have changed, my goodness. Not apart from the jerseys and the players, but what a game, Stanley, this was. 2-0 to the Gunners.
Well, this was the heydays. And we're talking about fighters, this is a side that could fight. If you put them in a battle ring, they will fight. And look at the goal scorer, Ray Parlour. He will lead the way. What a player he was. And that's why Chelsea had no chance in this game. Because going into this game, talking about flair there, you got flair, Freddie Ljungberg. First goal, Ray Parlour, fighter. The balance was brilliant. And they won this game out and out. 90 minutes, no chance for Chelsea.
So is it going to be a 2-0 scoreline? My goodness, Tony Adams. I mean,
Patrick
we're watching
Vieira.
with Tony Adams is a man who used to, Gary used to work with him. I mean, just a quick one on him, his stint at Granada, a very quick one. I mean, what was he doing there?
Well, he was there.
Coaching, though.
He works for the organisation that owns Granada Football Club, and had been there for a few months, trying to assist with player acquisitions and the medium long-term future. And when they decided to sack their coach, the decision was made to put Tony Adams in for the last 7 games. I was surprised Tony stepped in, to be honest with you. I thought he was on a hiding to nothing, and he did take a hiding.
All right. Gentlemen, prediction time for the Cup final. I'll start off with you, Bernard.
I'm going for Arsenal. Arsenal to win this 2-1.
Ooh, Stan the man with his scoreline.
I believe Chelsea will win it. I really do. That's my belief. It's hard. Well, it can be easy to justify. 2-0.
I'm going for one of the most negative cup finals in living memory. Yeah. I think both teams will sit back and wait for the other to come at them, but I can see Arsenal picking this by a 1-0. But then we've got another problem. Entertainment. These players get paid so much, they have a duty to entertain. But 1-0 Arsenal.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. I remember, what is your take on the scoreline for the FA Cup? Remember, it'll be live and exclusive right here on Astro SuperSport. Do tweet us. Off to a break, and when we return, it is the Season End Awards. I have no idea what they are, but we shall find out next. It is the season finale. I've got Des, Gary and Stan with me in the studio. If you're just joining us, thank you very much. And if you're stuck with us, thank you again. Time for the Season End Awards, starting off with the best goal so far we have seen this season. Gentlemen, goals galore. Stan the man, the striker, the scorpion kick from Henrik Mkhitaryan. What a goal. How about this?
That's a maneuver, and Emre Can just batted that, I think.
Yeah.
So for me, this looks perhaps should be the winner.
Pedro for Chelsea against Everton. What a goal, Mr. Corkhill.
Yeah, that was so important as well, because that's when we really knew Chelsea were going to win it. And Harrop, Man United fans in our producing team, huh?
It's a real classy finish, isn't it?
For a kid,
for a young player.
Yeah.
How about this one? Classy as well. Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah, really, really convincing finish, isn't it? You know, top corner, good pace, direction.
Boom! Former Liverpool man there. That's why Des is jumping for joy.
Great athleticism from a player as big as that, you know?
Exactly. The mobility, isn't it?
Yeah.
He is not a West Ham player anymore. He's back in France. No. It's like literally crossing the channel, this goal.
2,
Des.
3, 4.
He's danced around
5.
6 players.
Beautiful. That's entertainment. That is glorious football.
This was entertainment as well.
Well, he's strong. He's powerful.
Low centre of gravity. That's Eden Hazard.
My
He keeps
goodness.
himself really well
Preview
balanced.
of the FA Cup final?
Oh, Gary, I didn't know you were a big Arsenal fan there. How about Paul Pogba finally getting a goal for United? This was his first world-class goal, would you say, Stan?
Top technique. You need to have proper technique to execute that, and it was brilliant.
French fluke or Olivier Giroud meant that?
No, I think that was totally meant. He's almost watching the ball as he does it. Fantastic.
How Liverpool missed this man December, January.
Big time. Sadio, one of the buys of the season, the buy of the season for me. And that was the first game of the season. Terrific.
Brilliant goal so far. Any objections? Were they happy?
Good selection.
Good selection. All right. It is time for goal of the season. It is such a secret. The CIA and FBI couldn't get a hold of the answer. Right. Which camera am I pointing to? This one or that one? This one, okay? Right. Best goal of the season goes to Emre Can. Congratulations, you Liverpool fans out there.
It's done well. Done well.
What a goal. I mean...
Because he's never going to score another one like that, and he deserves it.
When did you turn into a wet blanket? Okay, never mind. But Emre Can as well. I mean, a lot of players, or rather Liverpool fans, didn't know exactly what his role was this season. Has he finally sealed the deal?
He's sealed the deal as a squad player. He only settled into that central area because Henderson was missing, and he's still not an attacking midfielder. So we still don't know what Emre Can is going to be.
There's time for your report. What do you have for us?
Well, I've gone a little bit... I know these two will be boring and routine, but when it comes to the manager of the year, I think is the first one.
Okay.
I've got an interesting one here. I've gone as my manager of the year, Paul Clemens. And the reason I say that is because he's come in, he's saved Swansea. He's come in on the back of not one, but two coaches leaving. He's had the bounce of 4 wins in his first 6 games, and then he's lost at Hull. He's drawn at Middlesbrough. He's lost at Sunderland, the must-win games, and he's finished with 6 matches unbeaten at the end of the season. So he's had a double bounce, and I think that's a wonderful season for him.
Very creative. It says manager of the season. He was there for, what, 3 months?
Exactly.
He saved them. He saved them. He didn't have any more than that.
Des, next player of the season.
Player of the season, Kante. The others will explain that. Young player of the season, Sane has really come on in the second part of the season. Flop of the season, Pogba. And take Wednesday into account, that was the real Paul Pogba. He should be doing that day after day after day. Flop of the season, he's £89 million. He's £89 million. I want a top-class performance every single match for that kind of money.
Ahead of who? Claudio Bravo for you. Okay, we get back to you have 2 more players, 2 more selections for your report card before we cut it off. I'm sorry.
Transfer.
Well, let's watch it again.
Transfer. Sadio Mane. I thought for Liverpool, when he was there, Liverpool were on fire. When he wasn't there, Liverpool stuttered.
Okay.
And the one to watch?
The one to watch, well, Traore. He's at Ajax at the moment. And when he comes back, because Chelsea will need players next year, they've got European Cup to deal with, or Champions League, and so they will need squad players, and Traore is going to be a gem. If not next year, in the next couple of years, look out for this fella. Sensational.
I will agree with Des, with Paul Clement. And if you ever want to survive in the Premier League, you hire someone from the Clement family. Remember Nigel Clement was at West Brom. Final day of the season as a player, kept West Brom up as well. Didn't know that, did you, Mr. Know-It-All? Time for best saves.
Nigel?
No, Nigel, yeah.
Nigel?
Oh, it's a Neil, sorry. What? Oh my goodness, I just jackmate myself. All right, okay, best saves.
Okay, best saves. Can I stand up for this one? Because
oh my God,
saves...
no, that's enough. Whoa, your head you disappeared. Your head just disappeared.
Tom Heaton.
Yeah.
Wonderful. This was the performance of the season, and this was the save of all saves to deny Ibrahimovic. 0-0 draw for Burnley.
You can stand up now, Des. You can stand up. Keep standing up.
Superb. Okay. So that's number 1. Okay. Heaton would be in my player of the season. Simon Mignolet. This kept Liverpool in a Champions League slot. This would have cost them points against Stoke. He's quick. Yeah. He's also spreading himself.
Yeah, but he's read it really well.
That's a goal 99 times out of 100. And Mignolet is much maligned, and that's a really good save. Now, this is Courtois. It's probably not his best save, but he's huge. He's 6'6". It looks like he's just made a block.
It's a skill, stopping it with your feet.
It's a wonderful, wonderful save. Just look how big he is.
That's
going into the corner. So Courtois, wonderful goalkeeping. I think we've had some great goalkeepers in the Premier League this year. And then David De Gea. Now then, my favourite with De Gea, he used to just dive. Now he goes step, dive. Now he uses his feet. Have a look at him here. You just see it. Top of you, step, go. And the athleticism is fabulous. There's a couple of little skips before there that makes this such a wonderful save, as well as the athleticism. So De Gea, you're right, Man United will lose him. And I've got to mention Jordan Pickford.
Okay.
And this is just a reaction save, but he was confident taking crosses. He was confident all over. I could have picked one of 10 saves for Jordan Pickford.
Any Premier League keeper will save that.
No,
He's a great goalkeeper, don't get me wrong, but I think a lot
it's
of
just my selection. This is arguably the
over
most...
the season.
It's straight at him, Des.
Yeah, but look, he's
supposed
wiping,
to
he's
save that.
swiping.
His reactions are brilliant.
Yeah, but he's supposed to save that.
And he did.
And he has saved it, and brilliantly.
But any goalkeeper.
But
that's what I'm trying to say.
wonderful, Jordan Pickford. What he's worth? I think they're putting a price tag of 30 million on him. And this one, this is a goalkeeper dominating beforehand, cheating a little bit, but psyching out. He's 6'6". He knows he's bigger. He knows he's stronger. Strong right hand.
That's the first penalty Milner missed in the season.
It
Yes,
was. It was. Yeah. And he was psyched out. And I thought Forster is arguably England's best goalkeeper, even ahead of Joe Hart, who I like very much, because it's not only the strong arm, it's the athleticism, and it's the psyching out. Oh, thank you for letting me show the goalkeepers in their true light. You don't give enough credit to goalkeepers.
Well presented, I like that.
Yeah, thank you for
Great
taking your jacket
enthusiasm.
off. By the way, for those of you watching at home, Des used to be a goalkeeping coach in Singapore.
Yes.
And dance, dive, that's what he always said. Time for Stanley Bernard's report card of the season in terms of, what happened. Stan, are you going to go anything against Des, or are you going along the same lines?
I'm shocked he's going with Pogba, but I'm not surprised it's Des Corkhill. Anyways, manager of the season, Antonio Conte. First season, the Premier League. Don't think I need to speak a lot about him because he's just been absolutely magnificent throughout. Consistency, not 3 months, but 9 months. Then player of the season, N'Golo Kante. He's gone to, he won with Leicester last season, and he's made a transfer, and he's won it again. And he's the X factor that Chelsea missed last season, and I think he's going to be vital for them to keep for next season as well. I don't think he's moving. Dele Alli, consistent throughout the whole season. Young player, scores goals, great feet, gets the team moving, and he's hungry. He's hungry to prove himself. I've gone with Claudio Bravo because I think Pep Guardiola underestimated the Premier League.
Anti-goalkeeper, you are. Anti-goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's a goalkeeper, but he's nowhere near Premier League standards, and that's why Man City are in trouble. David Luiz and Antonio Conte has really, really changed him into one of the best players I've seen. And Demarai Gray, for me. He's one player that if I think he gets a right manager, he'll be an outstanding talent. He's got pace, he can take on players, he's hungry. So for me, Demarai Gray is a player to watch.
Okay, in terms of the other youngsters or the person with the most amount of potential, you put him ahead of the likes of who you've seen so far, Demarai Gray?
Oh, he's one to watch. Young player of the year, Dele Alli.
But Claudio Bravo, in terms of what you've done, is it his fault or is it the fact that
Pep
has oversold him?
But goalkeeping-wise, it's his fault.
How many goals have been his fault?
3.
3. 3 in a season have been Bravo's fault.
Yeah, that's with saves, yeah? He's supposed to save.
That's three goalkeeping errors.
And then he's given away balls. Let's not talk about the ones that he's given away balls.
3 goalkeeping errors.
Yeah, he's gone about 4 times in this season and he's given away the balls.
How many saves did Bravo make?
Saves? I said 3.
3 goals given away.
3.
Right, OK, because I didn't see him make too many saves, to be honest.
His save percentage is around about 80%.
Save percentage.
Save percentage. The number of shots compared to the number of saves. It's about 80%.
He's supposed to save it.
Precisely.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. You cannot.
But you blamed him for 3 goals in a season.
Without visuals with goalkeepers.
Let's move on to best celebration, something positive. Have a look at this. If you're watching us at home, thank you very much. Turn up the volume. These are the celebrations. One, people like Stan, who scores the goal, he'll celebrate. Stan, I'll leave this to you.
Well, Klopp, lots of energy. Love him on the touchline. Love managers that celebrates. And
Alfie Mawson, is that Alfie Mawson?
Alfie Mawson, yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, the robots.
The robots. Brilliant.
How about this one? The one he celebrates before he scores. Ross Barkley, a bit of arrogance, but not bad, isn't it, Des?
And Harry Kane, of course. We've seen that 29 times. Kevin Phillips scored 30 in the Premier League.
Oh, this one, the flute as well.
Oh, this is the one that Rio wasn't too happy about.
Oh, how about this Zlatan about to kill... Oh, Phil Jones.
It's Eric Cantona.
And Paul Pogba, the most complicated handshake in the world, along with the dab. Someone please ban the dab. My nephews are dabbing. It's... Right, the winner is...
Klopp.
Best celebration of the season. I think Phil Jones needs to play a part in this because it is Zlatan Ibrahimovic for the Kung Fu kick. I mean, should he stay next season for you, Gary?
Well, you know, he's got a number of months of recovery from this knee operation that he's had. Officially, he's about to step out of contract.
Yeah.
I don't see how Manchester United can keep a player, pay him a huge contract when he can't play for them. So I think he'll be leaving.
Gary, for you, the report card, anything similar or different to these two people?
Well, you know how creative Des was, so I'm not particularly similar to Des, but a number of my selections are very similar to Stanley.
Great minds think alike.
Oh, God.
Fools rarely differ.
Yeah, there you go. So we can breeze over the first three because, you know, manager of the season, Antonio Conte, if you win the Premier League, you've got to be right up there. Player of the season, you know, N'Golo Kante won the Premier League last season. He's gone and done it again for this time for Chelsea. Young player of the season, I think Dele Alli has been exceptional. So those three agreed with Stanley. Flop of the season for me, and I'm not blaming the player here, Daniel Sturridge. It's just, I find it hard to believe that, you know, these niggling injuries have kept such a talented player out of the side, and then he hasn't, partly because of his attitude, I think, been selected at times. And I just think he's a great talent and should be playing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's been a flop season for him, not necessarily his fault. Best transfer of the season, well, you know, Kante, I think he's been hugely influential for Chelsea this season in winning the title. And then one to watch. You'll quite like this one, I think, really, Des, because I've gone outside the box. Anthony Knockaert has had a great season at Brighton. Brighton have gained promotion from the Championship into the Premier League this season. He's a winger. He's about 5'7", 5'8", scores goals. He's French. He's played in Belgium as well. Played for Leicester City for a couple of years.
Didn't he miss that penalty, the famous penalty against Watford? Wasn't that Knockaert?
But that's in the past.
Yeah, no. But for him to come back from that.
No, he's a great
terrific
character. And I think he will be one to watch for next season in the Premier League.
He might be in the team of the season next season, but let's focus on this season. Team of the week, Monsieur Corkhill.
Is this our own individual team? Again, I've gone a little...
just the compilation.
Oh, it's the compilation because we've gone for Thibaut Courtois in goal, where I had Tom Heaton. It's not easy to be the top goalkeeper for the champions. Tom Heaton was outstanding week in, week out. Ahead of all of them, because he's playing in a team that's under constant pressure, that is conceding 15, 20 shots a game, and I think he's been outstanding, Tom Heaton.
I think you can look a good goalkeeper when you've got a load of stuff to do. No, it's true.
I agree.
You know, I think for me, great goalkeepers are the ones who make really important saves when they haven't had too much to do, and Courtois has done that on a regular basis for Chelsea.
Can't argue against Courtois. He's sensational.
I just think Sadio Mane should be in there. Mane has to be in there.
He was in my team, but I lost out compared to two of you.
The defence, Stan, you're skipping on the defence.
Well,
you spoke about the goalkeeper.
David Luiz and Azpilicueta. It's hard to argue. I mean, the only difference with me is I've gone with Bailly in there.
Yeah.
Because I think he's a great athlete.
I had Vertonghen in amongst that as well.
Yeah.
I had Sacco because he saved Crystal Palace in the 6 games.
Didn't play many games.
But he saved them. They were a relegation team.
Look, team of the season, not team of the 6 games.
But it's the impact in those 6. Palace without him, Palace with him, different team.
Remember, these were based on your votes, and these gentlemen, as well as all the hosts and people that work here at Astro SuperSport. It's a family thing. After the break, we answer your questions, so stick around. Special edition, season finale, so it's an hour and a half. What's the last part of the show? Well, stick around and I'll tell you what's going to happen in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about what happened with Monsieur John Terry, the God of Honor. Walks off on the, you know, Des, go ahead and take it over. I don't know why this happened.
OK, well, if this is a Malaysia, this is match fixing.
You're right.
This is spot fixing. This is the 26th minute. Somebody's kicked the ball out of play. If somebody's made money on this, then in Malaysia, you would get absolutely clobbered. And then Arsene Wenger said earlier on, hey, it's not about me. My word, where are we going with this? Yeah. Where is this cult of personality come from?
Well, this was all about John Terry, wasn't it?
So he's been a great servant.
Of course he has.
Is he bigger than the game?
Wow.
Is he bigger than the game? Is he bigger than the club? But it looks like that because both clubs. I'm shocked Sunderland even.
He made this happen, by the way. If you're just joining us, you do not know this story. John Terry walks off in his final game, 26 minutes, to represent his jersey number. He's orchestrated this. He's gone to Sunderland. He's gone to Chelsea. I mean...
But when the 26th minute came up on the clock, the ball was in play.
Yeah, and Jordan Pickford's kicked it out.
Pickford's got the ball. The Sunderland keeper's
Diego
got
Costa.
it. And Diego Costa says to the keeper, by the way, 26 minutes on the clock, can you kick the ball out so that we can, you know, have an early celebration for John Terry, which John Terry has requested?
Would you have done that ever? Or...
I would have loved Sunderland to have played on and gone and scored.
No, I would have done it. I agree. This is embarrassing because he's a great servant. He's a footballer just like the rest.
Yeah.
Ryan Giggs retired. That didn't happen. He was a great servant as well for the club. So the point is, he's not bigger than the game. He's not bigger than
But in his mind he is. You go back to the Champions League celebration.
And this is the most watched league in the world. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, you go back to the Champions League final where he put on the kit, wasn't playing, he lifted it. Compared to what Roy Keane and Paul Scholes did, who just wore the suit at the end, they were embarrassed.
If it's post-match, I don't have such a big deal. But in the middle of a game, it takes away the absolute integrity of the game.
And even if during the game they decided to substitute John Terry and the whole ground stands up and applauds...
Like Philippe Lahm. Philippe Lahm at Bayern Munich. It's tastefully done.
Exactly.
They just maybe bought some time in it. They took their time. He walked away. That's all right, because that's him subbing off. But doing this is embarrassing.
But according to Terry, it's water under the bridge. Wayne Bridge. Right. Twitter questions and Facebook questions. Never mind. It's John Terry. Nobody cares. Korea asks, and this question is directed to Mr. Stevens, is next season the season Spurs will win the league? If no, some of the key players that need to change, what will they be?
Well, I would like to think so. You know, Pochettino's now had 3 seasons at the club, and last season they finished 3rd. This season they finished 2nd. The next step kind of says first, doesn't it? But I think there are some difficulties for Spurs because they're not going to be at White Hart Lane next season. They're going to be playing their home games at Wembley. I don't think that's necessarily going to help them. I'm not going to say it's a hindrance, but I think it doesn't help them. I think Spurs have a strong enough starting 11 to win the league. I think it's the depth of their squad that they need to improve.
All right, next question comes from Chung. We've seen a new formation, or rather, we've seen a new system being deployed this season, 3 at the back. So what will be the next formation next season that might surprise us?
It's not new.
Well, it's not new at all. Argentina played it.
In the Premier League.
Liverpool played it in the 90s. It's been played many times.
Louis van Gaal used it last season as well.
I played it in the 80s.
Indeed.
Doing it.
England played it in the 1990 World Cup.
So, Chung, shame on you for putting in such a good question.
So what's the next big thing? I've seen it a couple of times in the AFC Champions League. Aurora Reds, they play 2 at the back. They play a 2-3-3-2.
Oh, wow.
2 centre-backs with the full-backs going forward. And it is terrifying if you're a manager because any break comes back and you go, oh, my word. But going forward, fluid, 5, 6 players going forward, wonderful to watch.
Stan, Rish has a question. 3 biggest signings you think will definitely happen in the summer?
I think Griezmann is almost set to alight. His marketing value is brilliant. So that's one. Mbappe might move. That's another big star. Another one could be Matic going to United. That's big because he's just won at Chelsea.
It's at Fuso Stan. That's his Twitter account. I don't know why the name's Fuso Stan, but if you disagree with him, tweet him. Final question for Gary. It comes from Vincent. Which teams can be in the top 4 come next season?
Which teams can?
Yeah, towards the end of the season.
No sitting on the fence, Mr. Stevens.
Well, I believe that the 4 that are there at the moment have to be strong favourites. Simple as that. So it's can Arsenal penetrate that top 4? Can Manchester United penetrate that top 4? I don't think there's any other clubs in contention. So it's 4 from those same 6.
Thank you very much. 4 for the next season, but we've got 2 teams coming up after this short break. It is the Whiz Kid Finals. Who is going to be crowned champions right here on the show? We shall find out next.